Hello, Real Producers. This is Kristen Brindley, your publisher of Nova Real Producers, and I'm here with the wonderful Ben Heisler. Thank you so much for being with us. He's our cover story for January. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Honor to feature you. So you have a team, but you're the selling agent, and you did 39.8 million last year,
Yeah.
and you sold all of it, and that's up from 29 and a half the year before. So that's a huge. That's a lot of houses too, right? Like that's how many houses was that? That was 58 houses.
58 last year. Yeah. It was a
58.
busy year. Yes.
Yeah, congratulations. That's quite a year and quite a career. So since 2011, 501 homes sold, and you were on a team before that. So, honor to have you on. And tell everyone, like, how did this happen? How did you get started in real estate? Like, how did this happen?
Okay. So I have been in the business now it'll be in May, it'll be 22 years. So what happened is my grandmother many years ago, late years ago, was in real estate sales. I had family that was in custom home building. So it was always kind of a conversation. Real estate was always a conversation around our family. So then when I was in high school, we were living in Ashburn, and my parents said, okay, if you're not going to do a sport, you got to get a job. You're not going to just sit around and create trouble. So I ended up applying for a job at a local real estate office. At the time was the top one in Ashburn. It was Chris Cormack and CC Sells back in the day. So I was 15 years old. They weren't even really hiring, but I had applied, sent them an email to come in. So I went in and began as an office assistant. So I started at 15 in a real estate office, answering phones and doing something that agents today would look at like they were crazy, but we used to send faxes. So so that just blossomed. I loved it. Did a couple different things, bounced a couple of different teams, graduated high school, worked while I was going to college, graduated out of that phase of life, and ended up going into sales full time. So I was on teams throughout, bounced around a little bit, all within the local area here. And then in 2011, I started on my own with a full-time assistant, Lisa, who happens to be my mom as well. And we've been going at it now for 10, 11 years.
And it's a family affair. Like you work with your wife and, your mom, which I love your answer to a question about like the secret weapon. What is your secret weapon? Something, Ben, that you'd attribute a lot of success to?
So when I was on a team previously, and she actually worked with us on the team. And so when I went to start my own, I hired her. And that was just my initial accountability partner, essentially, in that she helped me get the back end system set up, the networking, everything I needed to do that I knew I needed to do. But if I didn't have somebody else holding me accountable, probably wouldn't get done. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm not sure I could afford it. At the time, I had no kids, a very low mortgage payment that I miss dearly. And I just told myself I was going to have to work. So I was going to have to produce, because not only was I accountable for myself, but I was, had a salary to pay to Lisa. So I just came out of the gate assuming I was going to need an assistant and just put my head down. In all honesty, the first year, probably it wasn't justified from a financial standpoint, but I didn't care because I knew that's what I needed to continue to grow. And that's, she's a huge reason that the business has grown over the years and maintained.
That's amazing. Well, and family affairs. So your wife also helps in the background there too. And then there's your beautiful kids too, right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yeah. So I grew up, we're originally from Ohio. We moved to Ashburn when I was in middle school. And my parents are still local. I have two younger brothers. One's in Purcellville, one's in Texas. And then my wife and I live in Leesburg, and we have twins that are boy-girl twins that are 5.5 and thank you. And then our little baby, we call her, but she'll be 3 next month. So that's keeps us quite busy.
I bet. Is there anything you guys like to do outside of the business, like together, like that's like hobbies, interests?
So we actually enjoy, I mean, traveling, but obviously the last couple of years have limited that. So Bethany Beach is a big go-to to ours. So we own a second home up there. So we go up there a lot. And I actually like it as much off season as on season, because off season it's just like a getaway, and I don't care who you are, the sound of the ocean is fantastic. So even if you have a winter coat on, it just makes you feel good. So
Yeah, it makes me happy too. Why there's a book about how water actually, makes people happier.
I believe it. It's beautiful. So we do that. And then the kids' activities, again, COVID kind of put everything on hold, but with the kids getting back into activities, and our families are all local. So I'd like to say I have some special hobby, or, oh, I run a marathon or something exciting, but it's pretty much kids, work, rinse, repeat here in our world. I'm fine with.
Well, we were talking earlier about, the no magic bullet, or,
Right.
it's just right. Like,
Yeah.
just rinse, repeat, and do a good job.
Right.
I love it. So what, and this actually brings up, so like, what sets you apart, makes you different, do you think?
So I would say what makes me different is communication. And I know that sounds just kind of like a big word, but communication to me is important throughout, not just the process, whether we're buying, selling, maybe we're not doing anything, we're just kind of exploring the option with you. But communication always has been important to me. And that just trickles down to, where we've built our business. It's over 85% repeat, referral, and sphere. And that just comes down to the communication. Even when you buy or sell a house, I tell people I'm kind of like the sand on the, or the gum on the bottom of your shoe. You never really get rid of me. So I'm going to stay in touch, even if if I sell your beautiful forever home that you plan to live there for 40 years, to me, it was still a relationship we had. And I'm not just in touch with you because you need to buy or sell a home. So we're going to stay in touch with you throughout that. I like to be, which I think I may have said in the article, but I like to really be part of people's story. I actually have an appointment.
Yeah.
I actually have an appointment on Friday with somebody who reached out to me and said, "Hey, you've helped everybody else in my family, so I wanted to reach out to you." So I'm just, have become not part of the family, but I've worked with everybody in the family and have gone through the excitement of, they've been engaged and they get married and have kids, and, some retire. So to me, just the people piece of it is important, and building that communication over the years, I feel, has just helped streamline the business for a lot of people when they come to us to buy or sell, because we have a lot of that communication has been open for years already.
So you build relationships and truly connect with people, and
Yeah.
and not just for the sale. I think that's, yeah.
I mean, and honestly, that's all I really do is that's where our business comes from, and that's where I'm most comfortable. So there's a lot of other lead sources that work wonderful for people. It's just not in my wheelhouse, so I'm not good at it.
It's, hey, everybody's got their niche. Everybody's got what they're good at. What do you have any favorite books or quotes or things that you want to share that could help either all the people watching in your sphere, or our real producers that are watching? Like, anything that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I would say one of my favorite quotes is a Maya Angelou one, and it goes, and hopefully I don't botch it too much, but it's, people will forget what you said, will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And to me, that just is something I remind myself of every day, and not just from a business perspective. We've all had, speed bumps in our lives, and I take away from anything in my life, good, positive, or just indifferent, kind of remembering how I felt, right? I can't necessarily tell you what happened, but for example, in 2005, I was involved in I call it a fender bender, but it wasn't really a fender bender. I fell asleep at the wheel. Fortunately, only injured myself, but I wasn't able to walk for 6 months. So I learned how to walk again. I broke both arms, both legs. And I can't necessarily tell you the name of everyone that was involved in my recovery, sadly, but I can tell you how that made me feel, or what I remember, right? I don't remember what they said, but I remember that physical therapist that had a great influence. And then I remember this other guy who did not. So, no matter what event it is in life, whether it was the birth of our children or a wedding, I remember things of how people were treated us and how they made us feel. And so that's important to me, because, being in the business we're in, to us, we can talk about all these awesome numbers and transactions and volume, but it's still somebody's home. And so I want them to remember, I want it to be a positive, experience, even if the market didn't cooperate or the other party in the transaction wasn't quite enjoyable. I want their takeaway to be something positive from our end.
Love it.
Yeah.
What do you think is the greatest lesson you've learned?
So I would say I have a couple of memories, right, etched into my brain. But I would say one thing I still remember the transaction I was working on, but an agent, she was with Remax at the time, Dory Key, years ago said to me, don't blink first. We were going through a negotiation and, I won't get into details, but basically that was her advice to me. And I still, to this day, don't blink first. In many situations when sometimes our gut is just, okay, just stop, just do it to get it over with. It's stop and don't blink and let the other party blink first. And so that was one of my fundamental career memories of this exact transaction, and remembering, again, her saying that. Can't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday, but I do remember exactly what she said and where I was when I said it. So that's a fundamental reminder of mine.
I think that's some good advice. I think that's some good advice for our real producers and for anyone in business and that kind of thing. I think that's,
Yes.
shoot, even which movie you want to go see with a spouse, right?
Yeah.
What would you like to be remembered for, Ben?
So I want to be remembered for the impact I had on people. Again, I've said it, but the numbers are great. Super excited for what we've done from a numbers perspective and what it's been able to give, me to provide to my family. But I really want to be remembered for what impact I had on people, that I brought humor to the situation and that tried to make the best of a situation, even again, when it's not necessarily the greatest. So I want to be remembered for, that kind of stuff for sure.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with our real producers?
So I would like to share, and I know we kind of, touched on a couple of different things, but I would like to say, first of all, thank you for all that you have done for the group. I've been an avid reader, and I was, watching the rankings and was super excited. It was a goal of mine to get up into the top where we are. But I would just say that it's, a great industry that we're in. Just keep your head down, do what works, and just keep doing the activities, and the results will come. It's just sometimes we all get distracted with the shiny object and stop doing the activities.
Thank you. That is great advice right there. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, you heard it here at Real Producers, and if you haven't read Ben's article yet, make sure you do. And we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
Bye.